Welcome back to the International West Qualifiers here at the Good Studio, and we've got one more game.
Yep.
Words were hard before the end of the show, but now they seem to be missing us all today. One more game today, one more game from Group B, and it's going to be Mouse Sports versus QPad Red Pandas. I don't believe I had to check that. And before we kick everything off, we're going to talk about the game in a little bit. But Bruno, how are you doing?
I'm great. This is the last game, not only of Group B, but also of the group stages. After this, we go to playoffs, which is exactly the same format as the groups, but
it's called the playoffs.
It's called the playoffs.
That's a big thing.
And there's a lot of lie, because now we have the 4 best teams. Like, people could say maybe the teams that were eliminated were not as good. Now 4 of the best teams in these Western qualifiers will have to see great games. EG and DD have been proven to be really good. Rock's case, even though they lost to DD, they were also really strong. Yeah. And now whoever wins this match will sure have to work hard to get into the top 2 that will get to the finals.
You come that far as well. You don't want to lose out when you're in the playoff group as well. It's like you're 2 best of 3s away from moving on, and then
getting that golden
dropping out there is going to be tough.
Yes, but yeah, before we're going to start the game, because we still have 28 minutes until we do, I was calling my friends. Who wants to jump in? And I'm calling my friends.
Are these the ones with benefits?
Well, no, this one doesn't have benefits.
No?
No, because if I give him some benefits, then he takes advantage.
Yeah, so he gets benefits from you, you don't have any from him. So it's a one-sided friendship.
Yeah, it's a very one-sided relationship. But, yeah, he wanted to come and say hi, and he's a really interesting person. So, Andy, if you can call him.
I will call him right now. I'm excited for this.
And he's also your friend, I think.
He is. If he picks up.
This is like the going trend.
Hello?
Hello?
Hello, Bulba from Team Liquid. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great as well. We're all doing great because we're the good studio anyways.
It must be very early over there. What time is it for you?
2 p.m.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's not that bad.
Not that bad.
Yeah. So, Bulba, how have you been watching today's games?
I watched most of the games.
What do you think of... Oh, sorry, you were saying?
They were pretty... I mean, the first game was kind of close, but then there was a few bad fights, and then QPad just won, and the second game was basically just a stomp. So,
I see. So, we were talking actually during these games, you and me, and you were saying something about certain picks. And things being strong and things being weak. Care to share some of that? Maybe not all of that, but what you think is actually strong right now in terms of the gameplay?
Well, I was commenting mostly on yesterday's games, and then EG, every team gave them Nakes, and I think Nakes is probably the strongest hero right now up there with Bat Raider, and maybe Wisp. But yeah, I feel like EG got Nakes every game, I think, versus Mouse, and I think one game they didn't get. And then they got it both games versus QPad, and I was just commenting on that hero, and I think that hero is insanely overpowered. So
it is really strong. Maybe we'll have to wait a couple more versions until someone realizes it.
You're supposed to get on this, Bruno. You're supposed to be the one fixing this stuff.
Well, but
it's your week.
Yeah, but I don't want to seem like they're twisting my arm. I have to make them wait. Okay. Know? So maybe in 2 or 3 versions, not before. Who knows? Anyways, Bulba, you also, I mean, moving a little bit aside from the qualifiers, you're playing for Team Liquid and you're playing really well, and that's getting you a ticket to China, right?
Yeah, we're leaving Monday morning, I think. Me and Mike and I think Korak are leaving early morning, and then TC and Fluff are leaving a little bit later because they're on the West Coast.
So you're going to be playing against a few Chinese teams. How are you preparing for that, actually?
The problem right now, I feel, is that preparing for the teams, it is hard, because first off, they play differently, and you go play with DD, you go prepare with DD or something like a team like that. Obviously, they're not going to prepare you for the Chinese teams because they pick how do I say it? Okay, they pick weird shit. Let's just put it at that. And then it's hard to like exactly know what the way the Chinese teams play, because you can objectively watch a game, but till you actually play versus that team, you don't know like how that team, like where they like where they put pressure, where they don't put pressure, and these kind of things. And you can only experience that just actually playing versus them. So we can't really play versus Chinese teams. We actually tried scrimming versus Rattlesnake on the Shanghai server, but it was like 400 ping, and I think EG's actually been playing versus Tongfu in the mornings, and they've been playing with 300 ping, but it's probably worth just playing maybe one a game just to see how they do, even if you have 300 ping, because obviously the way they play is different. So
interesting. Wow, no. Sorry, Trans is putting signs on my face. So that's, I mean, what you're saying is really interesting, because one of these teams playing right now will probably have to face one team of the East qualifiers to actually see if they can get the wildcard spot. Of course, one of them will be advancing directly. But from the teams that are remaining, which are the top 2 teams that you think will make it?
I think EG is playing the best standard Dota. I think they have the best movement, and Fear has been playing like he's been doing everything. Like his picks have been yesterday. The way that he outdrafted Mao's on that second game, if you didn't notice, they did like Rubik Furion first pick. I think they were second pick, but they did really smart bans as for second pick, and then they baited Mao's into taking the like no matter what there was Bat Raider, there was Mag, and then there was Nakes. So like these kind of things, it matters a lot. I feel because they were always going to get 2 out of those 3, and the way they're picked and playing right now is also really good. So I think it has to be one of them will be definitely EG. And the other team, I think it will be a toss-up between any of the other 3 teams. I feel if DD, they're probably the least predictable. So, and I don't think EG is practice versus them at all. So, I think I did speak to Goblack, and he told me he's quite confident playing versus any of the remaining teams in the qualifiers. And that guy is... to put it small, he's pretty much a genius when it comes to Dota. I mean, the entire Empire trend that they started last year was mainly due to him. Like how Empire started the aggressive tri-laning concept with Undying and Clinks and all these kind of things. So if he definitely has something up his sleeve, it's going to be hard for EG, because you just can't expect anything. Like it's so unpredictable. As for Roxkiss and the remaining team of QPad and Mao's, they kind of have predictable playstyles, I think. And yeah, so I think right now, to safely put it, without like seeing any teams play, I'd have to say DD and EG.
Interesting. So okay, I'm going to leave you now with Andy, whose shiny head you want to caress, but I think he wants to say hi to you.
Hi, Sam. Are you really going to touch my head? Because Wepa says he has a video camera, and we can sort it out at TI3. I just want you to know.
Dude, it's going to be unexpected. You're not going to expect it, and I'm going to come behind you.
How can I not expect it? You're like taller than me. How am I going to not see
well,
you
you're going to
coming?
be sitting down somewhere and jacking off to Bruno, but...
During a cast or something?
If he manages to... If they do it the same way they did last year...
I just imagine at the International, Sam's going to go up to the hotel lobby and just be like, hi, yeah, I need an extra key for my room. I lost it. My name's Andy. You're going to be in the shower.
Dude, I'm going to do it once. Too. You're not going to run away.
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
Yeah.
I'll be ready for you, Sam. Don't worry.
Sam, I want to ask you about the match at hand as well, because this is obviously where we're going next, and it's going to wrap up all the groups. Mouse Sports versus QPad Red Pandas. What do you see happening, and who do you give the advantage to, and why?
First off, QPad. What can I say? Okay, QPad. I was extremely disappointed in their picks yesterday. I even told Singh this. If you saw the games they played, they did play bad. They did not play well. But the picks they gave and the games that they played, I felt were pretty bad. Like, you can't give a team like EG those picks and expect to win. So after seeing the IC Cup games, they did kind of shift it up. Like, they aren't giving teams Nakes, Storm, Shadow Demon, Nyx, something like that. I think that was one of the games that they gave a team that. I think it was the second game. But yeah, they aren't giving those kind of teams that. And they are playing somewhat differently. Like that whole Nyx thing. At first I thought it was kind of clowny, that thing just goes straight to the jungle, because it isn't as efficient as just free-farming the lane. But Mini and I think it was Jerax on the Shadow Demon, they did a lot to put pressure on the TA. And in that lineup, I felt if they shut down the TA, they'd win the game, which they did shut him down pretty well. So the second game was IC Cup. So if QPAT pulls out something like that, and on the other hand, like I think Bruno said before, that Mao's they play kind of they are kind of predictable in their picks, and they should try and switch it off. But as for stability, I think Mao's has it over them. Like laning wise, I think Koikwa and Fada are individually probably one of the two best players in this qualifier, like individually, like laning wise and stuff. I think it was yesterday where Koikwa actually beat a Gyro solo with Furion, when that matchup is extremely, extremely unfavored for Furion. Like Gyro completely shits on Furion in the lane, but he actually went even versus him. So I think individually, skill wise, I'd have to give it to Mouse, and kind of different, unique wise, I'd have to give it to QPad. So, but I'd always go for the stability. So I'd have to say Mouse is going to take this.
Yeah, I think that's where most of the communities leaning towards Mouse Sports are looking the stable line team that potentially should be going through in second place. But we'll have to see what QPAD have in store. So, any other questions for Bulba? Anybody?
No, not particularly. But we want you, of course, to give you some time to do some shout outs, maybe plug sponsors, whatever.
Yeah. And also, good luck in China as well. It'll be really nice to see you guys go over there and see how you compete.
Yeah, thanks. I can't wait to.
Any shout-outs?
Yeah, wait. There's a question from Trans, which I'm reading right now. It says, ask if Ashley is going with him.
Okay, Trans. All I can say is 2 words, fuck you.
Okay, yeah, so any shout-outs apart from fuck you, Trans? Well, that's good as well, though.
We love that one.
Yeah.
I don't know, dude, Trans. The sound, I wanted to... What was that? The quote was like hang trance or something. Okay, well, anyways, shout outs to
Fire Trance.
Yeah, Fire Trance. Okay, Hank's Trance can be one too. But
So
shout out
Trance.
to Team Liquid and its sponsors, Razer, Barracuda, Twitch, Shiny Things, and watch us play next week in China.
All right, yeah, we definitely will. And good luck there, and congratulations on your invite to the International. And we look forward to seeing you. So thanks for coming on, Bulba. Speak to you later.
Thanks.
Yeah, I think it's really good to get insight of someone who thinks about the game on the level that Bulba does, in terms of talking about that life stealer being one of the strongest picks. Also talking about QPAD yesterday giving away too much in terms of bans and picks. And I felt yesterday as well that Singh had the option of why mag first pick, etc. When there's a Nyx Assassin in there, that it maybe felt he wasn't comfortable with what his team could or couldn't play, and was jeopardizing the overall team lineup by going for something too safe and giving away too much to their opponents. But we'll see what they come in here against Mouse Sports. But any kind of how long are we're going to be starting the game in just about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Since we want to start at half an hour for the viewers.
Well, for Mouse, this game is once again proving yourself. Mouse has been around since pretty much the beginning of competitive Dota 2. Whichever iteration you were a fan of, most people probably still in some way want Mouse to at least make it to the International, because they've had a huge following forever. So if they can stay to their standard style, they can manage to give Black some kind of hero with an impact. He used to be known as a very passive farmer, but over the last couple of months, maybe even longer than that, he's started to develop a style where he's actually comfortable fighting now. It feels like his decision-making has gotten a lot better. I've actually spoken with him at length, especially when we went to DreamHack Winter. We got a chance to meet him there in person, and he compared himself to Burning in the sense that they could farm the same rates, but Burning's awareness and knowing where to be on the map were just what made him that top-tier carry. So he's been working on that for a very long time, and I think that's going to be one of the biggest problems for QPAD right now, because the couple of drafts that I've seen them do where they rolled over IC Cup, the carries weren't necessarily that active. In the second game, more so than the first game.
Yeah.
But in the second game, if you play too passive against Maus, I think it could be a giant mistake.
I agree with you, and to reiterate, that point, it's like Jackal was going into his fights with just a BKB.
Yeah.
Not even drums. He had, maybe phase boots or something to his name, but Blacks certainly won't be in that situation. And they did give Jackal a lot of room. There was a lot of focus elsewhere other than Jackal. They did get a kill on him once, but on top lane. But I agree with you, Black could be very scary. Bruno?
And it's going to be tough for them, clearly. But I wanted to talk about the players particularly, and one player that I think is crucial for this matchup is going to be Faira. Farah playing the mid. And I do have some stats about it, I believe, if we can be... Yeah, I know, it's fine, it's fine. So after we talk to Farah, we'll talk about all the rest, but we'll start with this. Farah, look at this guy, he's been playing the carry before, he's played the mid lane. Strong player overall. If you look at the GPM in the heroes, he always gets his farm. Low death count with most of them, surprisingly high for Luna, but for all the others it's 4 and less, especially the life stealer. It seems to be that he was really, really strong playing that. Of course, we will not be seeing him playing life stealer because he now plays the mid position, but we do see things like the Templar Assassin and the Queen of Pain, and of course we cannot forget about the pack, which he played magnificently well yesterday against Icy Cup, and maybe, just maybe, they decide to go back to the Slark, which worked on that game one. But if it was to me, that Slark pick wasn't really great for them.
They weren't really doing too much with the Slark pick. I mean, he managed to get farm up on it, and in game 1 it worked out. But in game 2, where he was supposed to be active, he just didn't really find anything. So I don't think that Slark would be a good choice for Mouse overall. They should probably stick to the heroes that Farah knows best, like a TA, a Puck, Queen of Pain, something along those lines would most likely work out best for him.
And maybe it's also not only the Slark pick, but also the way he built it. He rushed the Shadow Blade, which of course is interesting because it gives you 2 ways to invis in and out of a fight. Also, you can jam with the Shadow Blade, do the extra damage, pounce immediately, and then get your ultimate. So it's really interesting, but on the other side, when the enemy has some kind of detection and sentry wards in place, it's becoming really, really hard to actually make something happen. And in big team fights, that's going to be a must. Yeah. But anyways, that's Farah, and we're going to introduce the rest of the players right now. Bulbas.
On the side of Cupid, we've of course got Sing Sing on the carry. Mid is Select, Wagamama playing in the offlane, and the 2 supports are of course Jerax and Mini. And
for the side of Mouseport, we had the carry Black, Farah, as we mentioned recently, playing mid. That's not Koigva.
That's Mag.
That's Mag, but it's okay. We're going to fix it right now while we're
Every
speaking.
team needs a cool guy with sunglasses.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
he just wants to fit in.
Imagine Black having sunglasses on that picture.
That picture reminds me of like a 90s American boy band. Like every time I see it, that's all I can think of.
Alright. How are we doing?
Scriff repping the shirt as well.
Yeah. There you go. Now it's like it's all part of the same picture. You see them hugging each other. It's 3 red Smurfs or something like that. And Pass and Cinder on the support, of course. And that's it for Mousesports. And we still have a few minutes. So
yeah, no, I just want to say Mousesports are such a likable team. If you ever meet him on LAN and you get to speak to Black, he's just so into Dota 2, and he's just so nice. He's just, you know, it's hard to, you know, even if you're a fan of Cupid Red Pandas, you want both teams to go through in this situation, just because they've done so much in terms of Mousesports, in terms of training and the results. They've really kept that team going. And I kind of felt for Mousesports a while ago when Kurakai left and, you know, Singh wasn't playing for him a while ago as well. I was like, oh God, what's going to happen? Because like Black deserves players of his caliber and his attitude towards the game. And I'm so impressed with how they've turned up for this tournament with you know, Fata just playing a great game mid, and he's definitely one to watch out for. So I guess we've got Cupid Red Pandas as well, if we haven't already introduced them. Was I not paying attention?
You were not paying attention.
I was in chat going, please move it to the other team. We're starting in
about 3 or 4 minutes, give or
about
take.
3-4 minutes. So not long to go, but we can take a look at this is what I always do when we have downtime.
No, we should make predictions.
Well, I wanted to bring something up really quick, too.
Oh, sure.
It was a while ago that you actually mentioned this, but we were talking about the Sark pick and how Fata didn't really seem to have the same impact as maybe Miguel did when Absolute Legends fielded it. And I think the biggest thing is when you pick that hero, the only item he needs is a BKB. Yeah. Because if you get a BKB, you can actually stay in the fight. And it doesn't matter if you have a Shadow Blade to initiate or potentially get away, because if you have a BKB, the Essence Shift is going to be there, you're going to get bonus damage from that. His spells are such a low cooldown that even in like a 5-second BKB, you can get 2 rounds of nukes off, and that's going to be a dead support or a dead anything that isn't going to be able to escape from you. So all in all, if they do want to run that again, I think his build is going to be slightly different. But I do like the style that kind of gives him, because it's still a hero that he can have an impact on, but it's not reliant on something, say, like a Dream Coil or a Reverse Polarity, where you have this downtime that Cupad can punish. And the way that they've been playing today against Icy Cup, just finding his openings against split pushers, especially Mag, playing out at Nature's Prophet, they just found him every single time and were able to pick him off. So I think for Mouse, picking a team who can take fights at any given point is going to be something that they're going to want to think about.
Yep.
When they do that as well, when they can fight constantly, they do really well as a team.
Yeah.
Under their towers, with Fata, with his puck if he's got it, or initiation under the enemy tier 1. The great thing I've noticed with Mouse is they really know how to put the other team under some pressure in terms of we've said it a few times, map control, which is basically like saying, we are going to make our decision based off we want to fight you, we think we're stronger, or we want to pull you around the map. And it does disrupt the other team a lot, because if you don't react fast enough, you're in a horrible position. If you have to react with everybody, your carry might not get an optimal situation out of where he wants to farm. And if you react badly, which is a harder thing to do, it's like reacting to a team fight or something that Mouse Sports are going to start. Reacting is generally harder. And Cupad, we saw, not today, but yesterday, their reaction as a whole team to being put under pressure by EG, they weren't all there on the same page. So it's really like Cupad need to be ready for Mouse Sports and how they're going to look to pick them apart, because they are more stable. And Cupad have a chance to either overperform today and play to their best, where I think they could take it, or they're going to crumble and underperform, where Mouse Sports could come out on top. The story is how well is Cupad going to play, and I guess we'll leave it at that.
Yes, exactly.
Trans is chipping in with the hosting now. He's like, his introduction to the screen, by the way, was, well, maybe this could help us.
So we see the head-to-head between the Cupid Red Pandas and Mouse Sports. Cupid Red Pandas, of course, are very new teams, only 17 games played. They're 9-8, still holding a positive record. But if they lose this, they will go 9-9. Mouse Sports, an older team, 201 games played, 112 wins, 89 losses. That's a 55% win rate over 201 games, which is really impressive. They only faced each other once. The Cupid Red Pandas won in the SK Cup 2-1. In this tournament, they both, I don't know why it's 0 there, but the interesting thing in this tournament, they both won versus IC Cup, and they both lost to EG. The only difference is that while IC Cup took one game from Mouse, they didn't take any game from the Cupid Red Pandas. So in terms of map score, which doesn't matter for this kind of...
No, straight best of 3, but yeah, in terms of history.
In terms of history, the Cupid Red Pandas, you can say that they're doing slightly better, just because they didn't lose any map to IC Cup.
Yeah, or even just the matchup. I mean, Dota's such an intricate game that you play better and worse versus other teams' styles, rather than you as players, yourself as a team, played worse or better. So it looks like we're ready to go, guys, and this is going to be the final game of Group B. It's Mouse Sports versus Cupad Red Pandas. It all comes down to this. The loser of the game will be out of the International. Their road to TI3 will end here. The winner will move into the playoffs, advancing in second place with a matchup versus DD Dota, and we're going straight into the game.
I can't wait for this one. This is the one that everyone's going to be caring about the most. I think these are probably two of the fan favorite teams in the entire qualifiers. So there's bound to be a lot of people out there who want to see either Mouse Sports make it through. They want to see the Cupid Red Pandas make it through. But either way, we actually said this before, it's kind of like heartbreak. If either team goes out, you kind of just feel for them. You know what I mean? We talked about Black and his dedication to the game for such a long time, really wanting to make it to that top level. Like when you talk to him in person, he is about Dota. Like, he just wants nothing more than to be at that top echelon. But the Cupid Red Pandas, they're here to prove themselves. They're starting things off with a Lone Druid and a Batrider band. So immediately that screams, we want a first pick Lifestealer.
Yeah, they do get the first pick, and Mouse Sports, to let you know, they have picked to have Radiant this time, which means they're going to get first pick on Dire as well. So both teams are getting first pick on the Dire side. Cupid Red Pandas have, of course, set up for that Lifestealer. Are Mouse Sports going to give it to them? No, they're not. They're going to ban it out, and we could see a Shadow Demon come in here, but maybe a bit early but still you could be giving it away as well. But it's been great from the Shadow Demon. It's really helped in the team fights, and I believe that this game will come down to a lot of team fights. Well, every Dota game does, but this will be the difference between the teams. Unless Mouse Sports are able to kind of show their dominance as a more stable team, more stable in terms of farming, and of course we've mentioned that some of their, or Bulba mentioned, some of their lanes, Fatter, for example, as well as Qualifier, who I still won't be able to say properly, are quite dominant in their positions. But actually, Cupid Red Pandas are going to take out the Nature's Prophet. That's something that Mouse Sports love picking up.
Well, the Nature's Prophet, starting off, is kind of the safe bet. You know, you go into it, you're thinking, maybe we wanted the Nyx, of course. Mouse Sports are actually going to take that themselves here right now. But when you think about the Nature's Prophet pick, it's the flexibility that it gives you. And when you're unsure, really, of what Mouse is going to bring to bear in game number 1, it's really easy to pick something like that up. Maybe a Darkseer would have been another nice choice, just somebody who can do pretty much whatever you need him to do. So now Mouse Sports, they're going to take away the 2 heroes that Cupid had great success with against IC Cup. So they're going to get their hands on the Shadow Demon, they're going to get the Nyx, and that, to me, kind of spells a little bit of trouble for Cupid, because now 2 great roamers are out of the pool.
Yeah, but at the same time, you have to think the supports from Cupid. We've given some good praise to Mini and Jerix. They do know how to roam. Their early game is really good. So, but they also know how to play against it then, and they probably play these 2 heroes, I would say, better than Mouse Sports on their support. So they should be ready. They should be knowing what they're going to be playing against, and we'll see what their reply is going to be. As we are going to move on to 2 more picks for Cupid Red Pandas. My silence is me saying, how do I ask Andy what he thinks?
No, it's okay.
Rather than make it up myself.
There's a trap here that Cinderin has basically set, but actually, Cupid, they're going to take the Rubik. I was going to say, if they wanted to pick up that Magnus that they love so much in those next 2 heroes, the Rubik was still in the pool, they could put the Nyx mid. Fata has actually played that before, but now they're going to be able to get their hands on a puck. Whenever you see the Rubik, whenever you see the Clockwork, that's when you really want to avoid picking Mag into a lineup like that, because there's so much disruption. The Clockwork can isolate you before you can get in, and we saw how hard it was for Select himself, of course, trying to play that Mag the other day against the Rubik, against the Nyx Assassin. You have to find the perfect RP, and sometimes it just never comes.
Yeah, the Rubik pickup's nice, but it's also kind of... I always feel Rubik's a pretty risky hero to be taking into games, just in terms of it can do a lot if it's given room. If it's not given any room in the team fights, it does sometimes just nothing much. So we'll have to see, but normally it ends up pretty good because it's being played by professional players, but if you get behind, it's going to be absolutely devastating. And you can see that Cupid Red Pandas now are going to be banning out the carries that they don't want to fight against. It's the Gyrocopter and the Alchemist, and on the other side, Mouse Sports banning out that AM says to me that they maybe consider that Cupid is still looking for a Magnus and +1, which could have been the Anti-Mage, which we've seen Cupid Red Pandas play before. The Magnus RP into the Anti-Mage with Battle Fury, as well as the buff over, I want to say, Empower. Empower, yeah. That one. Look it up, kids. It's on Dota Wiki.
Dota 2 Wiki, yes. But I agree with you. The AM ban definitely makes sense. It's more so the fact that Mouse Sports, up until this point, they have almost nothing but magic damage. In the early game, it wouldn't be so hard for them to shut down an AM between those 2 heroes because you got the stun, of course, Soul Catcher, and a puck. But as the game stretches on, the AM late game doesn't really worry too much about that core lineup. So for Mouse Sports, maybe they're looking for a carry who doesn't really do well against the kind of split push that Cupid can actually put together right now, because they already have a Prophet. They have a Clockwork, who of course has long range himself, and they have a Rubik. So those 3 heroes are fantastic at finding picks, and they're also really good at playing defensive if they need to. So I feel like instead of just going full-on defense or full-on aggression, Cupid have picked themselves a team who can kind of do a mix of both, and Mouse Sports are actually going to ban out the Mag themselves because they know that, of course, Cupid can still pick it, but they don't want to take it themselves either.
And Cupid Red Panda is going to take away the Darkseer, looking to remove that from the pool, so Mouse Sports don't have Darkseer on the off lane, and it's just Mouse Sports for the final ban. And they have focused on the AM and Magnus, which are the 2 heroes that we mentioned, have been played together for Cupid Red Pandas pretty well. So 1 more to ban out. Are they going to go for... Oh, actually, it's going to be the Phantom Lancer. Phantom Lancer and also Nature's Prophet, 2 nightmare heroes to go against when they're in the same team in terms of split pushing. So that's a great ban. And both teams so far in the first stages have I feel they know each other only too well in terms of what how they're banning this one out. So Cupid Red Pandas to pick. Where should they go?
Well, basically the name of the game is a carry and one more support. You could potentially say that they need a mid too, but we know that in the past that Singh has played mid Rubik before. I wouldn't put it past him to throw a curveball at Mouse here and potentially do that, because the Fade Bolt is still going to allow him to CS relatively well, but the second support is actually going to be a Jakiro. So this to me looks more like a defensive lane than anything else. Maybe they're going to put the Clockwork in the off lane and potentially put the Nature's Prophet in the jungle, but then they're pretty much sacking a lane. So if you're looking at Cupid right now, the question is, who is actually going to be going mid for them? Because they don't really have a carry just yet, and if they don't have a carry, where is their other lane going to be?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if that Clockwork does manage to go mid as one of the options. I don't think they would throw Rubik there, but who's to say? I mean, you probably know about the matchup better, Clockwork or Rubik versus Puck, but we'll see how this pans out. We'll get the whole picture in just a moment. On the board there behind that Wepaz and Bruno are in charge of, they put the Clockwork mid for the moment, and it is going to be a Juggernaut. And we've seen Juggernaut played with Aghanims multiple times, and Cupid Red Pandas are actually going to pick up a Luna as their carry. And I like that carry in terms of what it can do, and it really adds a strong amount of push when you get to the towers. Eclipse is great. You're not up against a Rubik, so you know that's not going to be thrown back at you because it's a very easy spell to steal. But what are your thoughts on the Luna?
Well, Luna is fantastic in situations where you think that the tri-lane that you're going to be going up against, especially Mao's tri-lane, because now you're looking at a Shadow Demon, a Nyx, and a Juggernaut. That will just kill a Luna, and there will be absolutely nothing that the supports of Jakiro and Rubik can do about it, because, of course, Blade Fury makes you immune to magic. So if Mao's want to aggressively lane this, they are fully capable of doing so, which is a little bit of a risk, I think, that Cupid has taken by picking up that Luna last pick on the on the other side. If they don't, then Luna's going to work great, because that aura is going to allow them to push a very quick tier 1. Luna can fight pretty easily during the mid game. You're going to have that Eclipse, especially once she gets to level 11, and you're going to have great map presence. For me, I feel as though the Prophet would probably be a better choice to put mid, because it's going to be against the Puck. And Puck versus Prophet, you can still be really, really annoying with Treants, and one phase shift isn't going to really do much for you in that matchup. So Mouse, their last pick, it's going to be a Weaver. That could potentially be their offlaner, or they could use that as a tri-lane hero as well. Yeah,
some tricky picks from both teams in terms of where they're going to go on lanes. We see on the board you could have an offensive tri-lane, but even with an offensive tri-lane, you can't lose an offensive tri-lane. It's quite good to have an offensive tri-lane on Radiant side, because you're able to pull one neutral camp to your lane pretty easily, as opposed if you were playing a Dire side offensive tri-lane. So they have that going for them, but it's still risky. But I do like the Weaver pickup. I think that's going to get a lot of farm in terms of going on the safe lane. And it's not going to be, I was going to say not too easy to kill, but as long as, Rubik lift, you do have a good chance of locking it down, especially with the Clockwork. So Select has actually picked up the Clockwork, which does indicate that it should be going mid.
Clockwork versus Puck isn't really a horrible matchup. He'll still be able to find some farm, and the biggest thing for him is trying to get level 6. So we're going to see how the lanes are going to shape up here from Cupid. And I think their lanes are actually much more important than Mao's lanes, because they have this flexibility of, we have a Juggernaut who can actually get Healing Ward, help us push in the early game, even if he doesn't get a ton of experience. He did start with Boots, by the way, so there's a good chance that he's going to be going to the off lane, which means both these lanes are going to be avoiding each other. I feel like for Cupid, this is what they wanted. A Luna doesn't want to ever go against an aggressive tri-lane, especially with somebody like Juggernaut, if they wanted to do that, because, again, it would have been so hard to really try to save him, and the range on Luna isn't fantastic either, so it would have just been overall a dangerous situation that, thankfully, Cupid are going to be able to avoid.
Yeah, I think Mouse Sports have given him a little bit of breathing room here as well, and as I mentioned, going into Game 1, an offensive tri-lane, if it doesn't go in your favour, can really, really hurt you. So let's go over the players and who's playing what. We'll start with Mouse Sports from left to right. It's going to be Cinderin handling the Nyx Assassin. On Juggernaut is going to be
Koikva.
That's exactly. Playing Puck mid is going to be Fatten, no surprise there. We're hopefully going to see some great plays out of him this tournament. On the Shadow Demon is going to be Paz, and as we mentioned, he is going to be on the safe lane, playing that as a tri-lane, and Black is going to be playing the Weaver.
And outside of Cupid, we're going to have Singh playing on that Luna Rubik. Going to be here in top lane, going to be played by Mini, joined by Select, who's also going to be playing on that clockwork. Wagamama currently heading to the offlane. He's going to be playing that Prophet, and finally Jakiro going to be played by Jerax. So yeah, they changed their lanes.
Yeah.
So this is actually going to be a Luna going against a Puck mid, and this is a great choice because the damage difference between a Puck and a Luna at level 1, especially when you have that aura, it's ridiculous. So in terms of last hitting, Sing will be able to get a pretty good amount, and he's also been pulled a hefty amount of regeneration to compensate for the fact that Fata should actually be able to harass him quite effectively here.
Yeah, we'll have to see how that works out. Quadva?
Koikva.
Say it in two separate things, right?
Koi.
Koi?
Gva.
Va. Can I just say Koiva?
Sure, it's close enough.
Yeah, is that right? I've got it from the rest of my life. I'm never going to forget that. People can come up to me when I'm like 70 years old and they'd be like, hey, what was that mouse playing? I'd be like, Koiva.
There you go.
So Qualifier has invisibility. He's actually going to be blocking the small camp here in the jungle. And it could be dangerous, but I don't think it will get a kill on Sing Sing mid, just a level 1 blade through. He'll probably take more damage from tower as Sing will just back off. And they did see the invisibility rune being picked up. So on the offlane, Wagga, you might be having a problem here. In comes a disruption, an impel, and surely there's going to be a block. And Cinderin nicely blocking. And with that, with the ability to use the illusions against him, it's going to be first blood to black. So Mouse Sports off to a great start.
You can't start that way. Like, if you're a Prophet and you're going to an off lane and you see that there's nobody in your safe lane from the side of Mouse, you scout with your treants because you're going to die if you don't, and that's pretty much exactly what happens. So a little bit of a bummer that Cupid go into this game giving the worst possible person the first blood. Of course, is going to be Black playing on that Weaver, but this, for Cupid, seems to be a little bit of a gimmicky play here. They put Sing mid, they give him a ton of regen, just because they know how easy it's going to be for Fata to harass, because Puck's range is significantly higher than what a Luna can do. And if Sing doesn't deliver in the mid game, this pick, I feel, could very easily fall flat. So it's a very dangerous situation for them. They need to get a lot out of this top lane, and they're basically farming more or less a support hero in Select. They're trying to get him maybe a little bit faster of a mech, and you can see he's got a couple of CS right now. But there's 3 heroes here who don't necessarily have the biggest impact. Well, now 2, as we actually see some rotation from Jerax towards mid. But a risky start here for Cupid.
Yeah, they do seem to like to try and get as many levels as possible on their supports these days. At least in the last game, it was very evident as well. But it did work out from Wagga giving up the first blood. Sure, certainly what they don't want to do. And Black's just going to have no contest in terms of how much farm and how easy the farm he's going to get. And you can already see he's leading the way, 11 and 3, soon to be 12 and potentially 13. But even middle, as you mentioned, Sing, he's got to go up against and fight against a Puck to get his last hits. It's okay because of the high damage you have, but you're not going to be keeping up with Black, and he's actually half a Black CS right now, so already looking dangerous. And in comes Paz and Cinderin, and it looks like this could be a kill onto Sing, and already Mouse Sports fly ahead in terms of the early game advantage. This is looking very bad for Cupid.
It's perfect movement for Mouse, because if you look at the map right now, Wagga has actually started to make his way towards his jungle, so he had no way of really saying, hey, they're not here. It's really hard to tell when you're not actually focusing on the lane itself. So the movement coming out from Paz and Cinderin so far, immaculate, finding the 2 kills, and now Sing going to be even more trouble. 14-7 on Fata compared to the 7 and 5 of Sing. So even before he died, he still wasn't necessarily getting the better exchange. And now Cupid, they've decided to cut their losses in the middle lane. Sing mid hasn't worked out. They're going to swap Select in his place.
Yeah, Sing's going to go top and start farming, but he's going to be so far behind in terms of catching up of Black. But we'll see what they can do, and already Mouse Sports supports, if they want to roam again, they can be devastating. In terms of levels, they're both level 3, I believe, of getting both involved in the kills. And that's pretty high level. They're keeping up with Select, who's now mid. So he's going to have a tough time. Sure, he's got cogs, but they have to be very careful. So Mouse Sports have they've won their lanes, and they've opened up the map in their favor.
Well, the early game for Mao's, in my opinion, didn't even have to go that well, because they have heroes who can fight in the mid game, except for Fata, of course, who needs his Dream Coil. I mean, you have Blade Fury, you have a Nyx, Shadow Demon, and a Weaver, heroes who don't really rely on their ultimates to be that big of an impact, so they can take the skirmishes, no problem. Quakeman's even level 3 as an off-lane Juggernaut right now, so he's got level 2 in his spin. He's going to be getting quite a bit of experience and gold here from this creep wave, and they simply can't dive him. They don't have the heroes to do it. So the offlane choice of sending Quakefoot in this role on the Juggernaut, they almost cannot punish him. And not only that, but the lane control is a little bit lackluster here.
Yeah, definitely. He's getting a lot of farm out of that lane, and he's been pretty happy. Jakiro did actually rotate mid, but let's focus on Paz and Cinderin just for a moment. They're both smoked up, and they're actually coming towards top lane. Now, if Singh sits on that lane and farms all by himself without backup from Jerax and Mini, this could be another crucial kill going in the way of Mouse Sports, and the fight will be going down soon, so let's see how this opens up. Singh a little bit low on health, and he's going to get disrupted. Jerax is in position. Ice path hits someone important. That was the SD, and the spin unable to get the kill, but they're looking to turn this. The Clockwork Rocket Flare comes up, but it looks like it was a failed gank attempt, and they will back off. Paz takes a lot of damage from a level 3 Lucent Beam, but Mouse Sports don't get what they want, and that does play a little bit in advantage of QPad there.
Cinderin fumbled that one big time. He had his level 2 Impale, he missed. That would have been a dead Luna for sure, because the Juggernaut got in range to spin, but Luna is pretty much the fastest hero in the game. So if you don't land your stun, and he's not ready for the hero to be moving, then he's going to lose his damage, of course, and the Soul Catcher was even there. So unfortunately, they didn't manage to secure Singh 2 times in a row, but nonetheless, they still apply a decent amount of pressure, and now this is where it really starts to get troublesome, because even though that gank failed for Mouse, we just mentioned that their early game doesn't have to go perfect. They still have heroes who can really do work, so the supports of QPad kind of have to try to do something, and Jerax looks like he might just be giving away a kill. This is a level 6 puck. He will manage to get the 2-man Ice Path. Soul Catcher's going to be there, Mini, trying to help him out, but I don't really think it's going to matter. It's actually a disruption. I don't think anyone else on the side of QPad is going to die because of the cogs. The Dream Coil is going to be there. Fata, he really wants to chase this. He does have enough mana for another orb in about 1 second, but does he have enough for 2 spells? The Shadow Poison going to be hitting Select. Is he going to be able to get the kill? He jukes down. Pos, no mana to speak of, and Fata, he's not going to jaunt to the orb. They just back up. But still, Jerax walking into basically no man's land to put that ward down, and it cost him his life.
Yeah, it cost him his life, but also on top lane, Koiva, who was playing the Juggernaut, when the supports aren't there, he's free to get some levels and even contest for some farm, so he's very happy. He hasn't done great on the CS, but he's done pretty well for an offlane Juggernaut with 9-1. But Singh's still pretty far behind, and Black is just so far ahead in terms of the last hits. Wagger has come back to the lane. He's got himself some levels. He's up to level 4, but he's up against a level 7 Weaver, and really he's not going to be able to do much outside of tower range.
Black is monstrously farmed. 51 CS at 7 minutes. That is ridiculous. Sure, he's probably gotten a couple of Treant kills since Wagamama has made his way back down here, but this is when you have to start kind of wondering, if your Luna isn't having as good of a game that Black is, and Luna is basically your go-to for the late game stages, and Quakefoot's still getting something accomplished in the top lane, where do you go from here? Do you really have to try to find a situation where you can just take a fight and decisively win, potentially go for maybe a tier 1 mid, a tier 1 bottom, start to get some map control? Because if you don't, I can see this game getting very quickly out of hand. Yeah,
and Fata, he's going to be the one that wants to say when he's available to move and available to set up some fights, and he's not. You know, we're only 8 minutes in, so he's going to start working towards his Bling Dagger now, so he's pretty much reset on gold after picking up Power Treads and a full magic wand. And we'll see where he wants to go from this, but QPad, they're just going to try and get the most out of the situation that they can. Once again, Wagger's gone back to the jungle. Select is sat mid, just trying to get some farm. Singh is actually catching up a little bit in terms of overall CS across the board, but still not going to be catching up to Black playing the Weaver. In comes a nice path from Jerax, who only recently just hit level 3. It's going to whiff on the top lane, and Koiva not going to make anything happen here. So, Mouse Sports, they seem to have slowed down a bit in terms of the looking for ganks and rotations. And they've actually got Paz middle, just getting some levels, and they maybe could put some pressure on the Clockwork. But what should they be doing is a question, or in your opinion, what should they be doing? Because Fata has his Dream Coil up, and he's also got Haste Bottle. This could be devastating.
If they want to try to go for a kill right now, it's going to be really hard to kill Select, just because of how cogs work and how unbelievably difficult it is to try to engage into them. And we can see both teams, they have vision to Select, but this is too risky. I think they're perfectly fine with playing paths. So Cinderin right now, he's trying to get level 6. He's farming at the pull spot, and he just managed to get level 4. But we can see the difference in experience and gold. Sure, it's not huge, but this is just Mao's pulling ahead. So when you're getting an advantage just by how the lanes are going, in this particular scenario, it's okay to just sit back and do your own thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is how they like to win games as well. They get the advantage, they get the farm that they want, and they choose when they're going to fight their opponents. They don't, as you mentioned, they don't need to get the kill, and maybe on select it would be pretty difficult. So they just want to play the game their way, and that's when mouse sports get really dangerous.
Oh, that was so close. They just dropped the ward right there. Quakefo is level 6, so if he had seen Mini a little bit sooner, could have been a very, very sad Rubik right there. Unfortunately, Quakefo doesn't have mana to use both spells, so he can only spin or Omni. He cannot do both, and he was looking for a little bit of backup here from Paz, but I don't think Cupid realized that there's actually a ward there. Now they're going to know because a Shadow Poison just came out from Paz, but they will be able to secure some extra creeps here. More gold that Mao's going to be taking away from the side of Cupid, but still, there needs to be something on the side of Cupid that you're looking forward to. You know, you want Luna to get a BKB, you want Luna to be able to get into the fight, because without a BKB, there is no way you're going to expect her to live through these engagements unless there's a really nice hookshot coming out of Select and they force everyone to focus him. So I don't feel like there's enough tanky heroes on the side of Cupid to really relieve Sing in these early game engagements, but just still, Mao's contesting pretty much every single lane and winning 2 of them pretty hard.
Yeah. Bottom lane, Select has rotated down to defend the tier 1 tower. They're not wanting to give it up to Black this early, and he's going to get some pretty decent farm down here. He's actually managed to get the invisibility rune a little bit earlier. Across top lane, Wagger's actually joined with Cupid to put some pressure on this tower. This is where Fata wants to come in and kick some ass on his puck. So they have to be very careful here, Cupid, when they're going to back off. Quaver just hiding into the woods on the left, and you see a tier 2 tower, some TPs coming in onto the tier 2 tower. Puck, played by Fata, doesn't have his Blink Dagger. And Cupid are going to remove themselves from the lane. They're actually going to smoke up.
And this is an interesting play. They're going to try to find somebody, but
this is dangerous.
The only vision they have right now is the high ground mid, basically, and bottom rune. So they're kind of smoked with wishful thinking. Maybe they want to go all the way to bottom to maybe try to kill Black, which would be completely unexpected. But they're currently kind of just chilling here in mid.
This could be very dangerous for Cupid and could backfire. They actually see the whole team of Mouse Sports turn up together at the tier 1 tower mid. So this has worked out pretty well for him because they should be in position to defend. Select's now moving his way down. He's currently level 8, so he's going to have his hookshot available. And nice ice path onto Cinderin. He's going to back away. And in comes Select onto Fata. He will be able to orb out though. And Mouse Sports should be running from this fight. I don't think they want anything more to do with this. And all in the meanwhile, Sing and Black are both farming. Black doing some damage to the tower, so Mouse Sports get a bit more out of this. Select takes a haste rune, and he's going to get Omni Slash and killed.
A little bit of a greedy play there, going for the rune. He might have thought that he could get far enough away from Quakefo to live through that engagement, but the coil was used, so they just wanted to try to get the free kill. And that bottom tower, tier 1, it's quite low. Black didn't actually put it into deny range, but if he wants to, he can definitely try to do it now. A lot of abilities were used mid. Select, of course, is dead for another 10 seconds, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him at least force a glyph. Yep, there it is. So now, it's going to be almost a tower trade, but 2 people actually go to top lane as well to defend Mouse's tier 1. So neither team really willing to give away any map control, even though you could say that these 2 towers that are being pressured don't really mean a whole heck of a lot.
Yeah, admittedly, but I feel like, as Bruno mentioned, the tier 1 top not as important as the tier 1 bottom since it's closer to Roshan, but Cupid actually want to make something happen on tier 1 bottom. Black is going to secure himself the kill top, and there's a Blink Dagger up on Fata now on his puck, so Cupid could find themselves in a lot of problems here, and in comes the TPs, and they're actually just going to get the tower on Sing, and Quaver's going to back off, so Cupid get the tower perfectly timed when Fata was unavailable to fight, and I'm not sure about pushing this tier 2 tower is going to be a great choice for Cupid. We'll see if they're going to go for it. Fata can turn this fight around. It's all on Fata. It's all about his initiation the next fight if they decide to push this tier 2.
It's just such a huge creep wave, though. Look at all the Treants and just the creeps in general. Quakefa's trying to get some of them down, but it's actually very scary to try to initiate into this. But if Cupid separate from the creep wave, then it becomes quite a bit easier. But I don't think they're actually going to be able to chase. So with just the massive creep army that Cupid had right there, they were able to pressure the tower a little bit and not be too concerned with what Mouse is actually going to do in terms of aggression. But they didn't even bring Black. Black has just been doing his own thing, and they keep grouping up as 3 or 4 heroes on the side of Cupid just to say, hey, we want to just force some kind of reaction. Make sure that you're not just effectively farming your side of the map, because we have Nature's Prophet who's actually going to get coiled here in middle lane. He's going to try to actually get away, but it's not going to work out. There's going to be an Ice Path coming out from Jerax. It's going to be way off, actually. And there's not going to be any rebuttal kill at all coming out from Qpad. So Wagga kind of just teleported mid and gave away a kill.
Yeah, that's the first time they're going to see the Blink Dagger as well, so they now are aware of it. Nyx Assassin, played by Cinderin, also teaming up with Fata mid, is going to be level 6. They have to be pretty careful of this situation. Up top, Qualifier just getting some creep kills. Across bottom, Black is already going to work on the tier 2 tower.
Something has to be done about Black and his level of farm, because even though Singh, he's sitting at 93 CS at 15 minutes, which is very respectable. We just had the opportunity to see that 88 CS at 10 minutes is the most farmed Weaver in the most recent competitive Dota history. So you got to do something, because he's going to get more items. He's already got his Ring of Health after the drums. Maybe he wants to go for a Lincoln's. Maybe he just wants to rush something like a Manta and go for damage. The choice is basically his, but he does pick up the Perseverance, so it looks like his next choice is going to be that Lincoln's. And his mobility, his damage output with the rest of his team is actually still quite high. We haven't really hit much on it, but in terms of Mao's damage output, the majority of it is actually magic. But there's no one really on the side of Qpad Red Pandas who gets a BKB besides Luna. So at all stages of the game, this damage is going to be relevant.
But they have no field.
It's true, but no points in it yet.
No points into null field on Ruby, and that is going to be true. Quaver just going to clear up some creeps up top, going to TP out as well. Mousesports, it looks like Qpad think that Mousesports are going to be gearing up to take this tier 1 tower. They dinged to defend it, Qpad, and rightfully so, I feel. Wagga just trying to defend the tier 2 tower bottom while Singh farms top. So all in all, Mousesports have the advantage. They're currently 5-0 in terms of kills. They're ahead in XP and also gold. What are Qpad looking to achieve with their style of play here? And this mid tower is going to be denied by Mini.
That's actually a really important deny. Denying that much money away from Mouse at this stage is something that you pretty much have to do. They've gotten ahead in the laning phase. They've gotten ahead in terms of the early kills, so you can't give them anything extra. But as far as Qpad is concerned, aside from potentially getting ganked here by the smoke of Koikfa, yeah, they're going to be walking in right on the Singh. Singh's actually a level 11. The Ice Path is going to be there. It's going to catch Koikfa. Maybe they could have turned that around with an Eclipse, but they're going to decide not to, as there was backup in the form, of course, of Fata with that double damage and Cinderin standing close behind. But two heroes pressuring mid on the side of Qpad Red Pandas. This is what they really have to do. Oh no, Fata comes in. He gets the double silence. He wants to go for Jerax. Not even going to have to use the jaunt to get the last hit. Just pretty much kills him straight away. Select TPs to the tower. Not sure if that was the right call. I don't know if Mouse actually saw him TP in, but he's not going to have any help. He might be able to actually retreat away from here, and if he does, I think Mouse are going to be trying to take the tier 1.
Black is actually just going to be able to rotate mid as well, defend his tower, pick up some additional farm. He's coming up to 2,400 gold, and as you mentioned, Select, probably not the best choice to be there. He had to run away, and Mousesports will take the tier 1 tower top. So it's all about Mousesports right now. We still haven't seen a large fight in terms of engagement across both teams, but that puck is really scary. Blink Dagger and 2,600 gold. Qpad are going to need something big to happen in the team fight. They need to do a spectacular defense, and it's going to be very hard to do so.
He is unreasonably farmed. Yeah, Hasterun, Mini wants to try to catch Fata. He will be able to telekinesis while the orb is out. The Ice Path is going to be there, and they managed to get a kill on Fata. That is huge. He had a ton of money on him. He's going to lose a little bit of that unreliable
They've
gold.
also got a ward here. Sentry is down on Black, and he's actually not going to be able to back off with his ultimate, and that's another kill going in favor of Qpad. Surely this tier 1 tower is up for grabs, and the other supports won't be able to react.
That was a weird decision by Black. He was sitting there CSing, and then he decided to use his time-lapse anyway. He might have been able to use it after the Ice Path to actually live, but instead he was standing still for way too long, and when he used his time-lapse, he didn't go anywhere. He just stayed in the same spot.
Now, Qpad, they're heading what could be towards Roshan. They've just dropped a Sentry Ward. They do have a lot of damage up with that Luna as well, and they've also bought Swiftness Aura with the Centaur Conqueror from Singh's Helm of the Dominator. Are Mousesports ready to see this? Because their puck is currently bottom lane, Fata. He's picked up an ultimate orb after his death, and he's still got that Blink Dagger. Obviously, he's not going to set it or just drop it for any obvious reasons. But it looks like QPad, with Select with the cogs, is going to be able to delay the push. Synderen's currently invisible, but they will see him. And QPad get a big victory here as they pick up on the Luna, Sing, the Aegis.
4-man coil, here comes Select. Synderen going to pop that carapace. Sing solo already, of course. He does have that Aegis. The first one to fall is going to be Mini. He buys back straight away. Fata going to eat an Ice Path coming out from Jerax. Select inside of the pit, gets picked off by Pos, playing that Shadow Demon. Sing, he's up again, but the Eclipse, it does nothing. Synderen with a perfect Impale to isolate that ultimate now. The chase is on. Black wants to clean it up. Another double Ice Path coming out from Jerax. The Orb from Fata going to be enough to kill Jakiro with the help of that Soul Catcher. Mini currently on the run. He's not going to be able to do pretty much anything at all, and still only 1 kill coming out on the side of QPad. They lose the Aegis, they lose the ensuing fight. I gotta say, Synderen,
yeah, that stun,
that was perfect.
The stun, as soon as Sing popped Eclipse, he just stunned him, they all ran away, and it only pretty much got 1 hit off, I believe, on Fata, maybe 1 on Synderen, 2 at max, and Mousesports took such a convincing victory over that fight. So 11-2 the score, and Black checking some items. He's picked up his Lincolns. Fata now has 1,300 gold to his name. Level 8 on Synderen, so just a level 1 Vendetta. They're actually looking for Sing, as they do have an aggressive ward. They have seen him beat down some neutrals, and Sing could be dropping here. And he should be dropping here.
Yeah,
this is going to be devastating.
Sing, he really can't afford this death. He's so close to his BKB. 200 gold away. The Nature's Wrath comes out from Waga, but unfortunately, Fata not quite low enough. Although Waga TP's in, but I think he realizes, yeah, that's a little bit too scary. But we're going to get a chance to watch this Roshan fight again, and this has gigantic implications because Synderen walks in. Mini actually steals Vendetta, but a 4-man coil comes out from Fata straight away. The Omni Slash is there. Mini and Sing are already incredibly low on health, and Select actually gets isolated from his team with Black on the other side of the pit, and he's the one who actually drops to Pos. And Waga's, of course, forced to retreat. Sing gets back up. There's the perfect stun coming out from Synderen to isolate him after the Eclipse is used. And at this stage, I mean, there's nothing left in the tank coming out from QPad, even with Mini buying back. It just doesn't matter. Jerax drops to the Orb, Mini getting chased down. There's just absolutely nothing that he can do. He just submits to dying right here, and he's like, yeah, that's about it. But in the meantime, we did see that Black actually got another kill right there on Mini in the middle lane. Yeah,
he got a kill on Mini, and he was very smart as well. After spotting him, he used the Swarm, so Mini wasn't able to steal Sakuchi and be able to escape there, so Black secures a kill, and they're going to be pushing that tier 2 tower. But across bottom, Wagamama, without his Shadow Blade, is going to try and get away, and he's actually going to be able to just stand in the Shadow Amulet and TP out, so he does survive. So pretty good from QPad, but they're going to lose the tier 2 tower mid.
That was weird. I don't think the Shikuchi actually did damage right there. That was a little bit strange to me, but Pos actually going to get caught out here behind enemy lines. The tower does end up going down. Pos going to be paying with his life, though, so that was... Am I seeing things? Did that Shikuchi just not deal any damage to Waga when he was teleporting out? I don't know. That was weird to me. Maybe I'm just old man esports.
Indeed. So, Mousesports, how far are they ahead? What's the situation? Where do you break it down from here?
The issue really is with Black, because Black's got 2,100 gold, and he is unkillable, basically, unless they send 3 to 4 heroes at him. There is absolutely no way they're going to be able to take him down again. That 1 kill mid was a godsend, and you can see how aggressive he's willing to play this. It doesn't even matter if they try to spell steal, because he has that Lincoln's already. But yeah, top lane, Fata was looking for a kill. Don't think he's going to find that as Waga's going to go ahead and teleport out. But Mao's, they're not only ahead in terms of map control, they're going to be ahead in the late game just because of how far behind Sing is due to the fact that he's died up until this point twice, and he's been pressured heavily. On the bright side, he's got the BKB, and he absolutely needs that because, as we saw last fight around the Roshan pit, he couldn't even use his Eclipse because he got stunned and left in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, this is true. And with that BKB, we'll see if they can turn around a team fight. They're actually looking to go onto Black here. They do have a sentry, and then comes the hook shot. They're going to hold him in place. He's just going to time-lapse out. Waga comes in. I don't think they have vision currently. I think the sentry went down a little bit early. Nope, they do have vision, and they are going to drop Black. That's a big kill. Well done from Waga to actually follow that up with a teleportation followed by Sprout. But now they also have to defend tier 2 top, which is where Mousesports are putting down their pressure. Fata has a haste room. In comes some TPs from the team. First up is Waga. and they should be able to defend this, I feel. I think Mouse Sports are going to back off.
It's too risky
big
for
pickoff.
Mouse. Yeah, that pickoff was fantastic. Like I mentioned, they have to send like 4. That time it was 5 heroes basically at him just to
Worth
be
it,
able to
though.
kill the one hero. Absolutely worth it. Yeah, being able to get that kill, and since they didn't get punished, it's even better. So it's not like Mouse were able to find anything. When Black died there, Black basically just died. And he had to have known that there was going to be something happening because you don't just have 2 supports sitting in that lane, in that position for no reason. So he was playing it a little bit aggressive, I would say. Overall, still have a long way to go to really get back inside of the game, and I think Black might invest in a set of tangos sooner or later, because if he had one, he wouldn't have died there.
Yeah, that's true. He'll be able to eat his way out of the Sprout. I also want to bring up in terms of items that there is 2 Hand of Midases, I believe. I thought I saw 2 Hand of Midases. No, 1 Hand of Midas, at least on the side of Wagamama. So keeping up in farm, it does help him a little bit, even in late stage. There's no Hand of Midases on the team of Mouse Sports. Normally you see Black always get one. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
He's all about the farm. So we'll see how that plays into an effect, but probably not going to make a huge difference. It really does come down to these team fights when they occur, but QPAD are the ones that have to make something happen while this stage of the game is going on. Currently they're just like, okay, we can take the farm where we can. This is great, but Mouse Sports are getting more out of it. What will be interesting, though, is the next Roshan. It's a little while till it's up. That will be a big fight, but Mouse Sports looking to go on the offensive here. They're all smoked up. But so are our QPAD, and Select's leading the charge, and he's going to find the whole team, and he's going to get instantly hexed by Fata, and Fata's going to blink on behind, and Mini going to get stunned by Cinderin. Nice ice path, but they're going to lose another support here, so 2 down.
Double spin, actually. Mini steals the spin right there, so he didn't actually give the kill to Koikfa as Fata ends up picking it up. But, again, Mouse just in the superior position right there. Select walked down into the hill. Of course, it was a double smoke, and they had no way of really knowing because of the warding right now. They have 1 ward in the bottom jungle right now of Mouse, and then they have 1 ward at the bottom rune spot. So the rest of the wards are all purely defensive. Just unfortunate circumstances right there for QPAD, and they lose 2 heroes that are pretty darn important. I'm surprised, actually, that they're just going this hard for the base straight away. I guess they do have that healing ward, but QPAD, can they actually defend this?
Well, they're going to lose their tier 3 for sure. Cinderin has a blink dagger as well, so Jerax has to be careful, not only throwing that ice path out to get spike carapace, but just careful in terms of... Oh, Wagger, not going to be able to get away. Nice demonic purge on the bottom lane by Paz in rotation after the sentry was dropped. He's going to drop for another time. Just getting picked off solo, a little bit too much here, Wagger, but probably very hard to play that Nature's Prophet up against a perk that has a blink dagger and now a Cypher Vice. But Cinderin with that blink as well on his Nyx Assassin, that's very dangerous for QPAD, and I feel that QPAD want to take the next Roche. It's a little while until it's up. That's really, for me, where a big team fight could occur. They want to get level 16 on Sing, that's a given. That ultimate is going to do a huge impact if they can get the team fight going the way they want. But it also comes down to Select getting the initiation he wants, not getting picked off, not getting sheeped, and trapping some people in cogs, as well as being able to use that mech for his team and not just himself. So, still up for grabs here. Black, currently 3,800 gold. Had that Lincoln's for a little while. Still not doing a huge amount of damage, but enough damage in the team fights. When you've got a team this strong, in terms of you're all ahead, he does do enough damage, but his next damage item, which I'm sure he's going for, is going to be a huge impact. And we have 1 minute 20 until Roche.
The next Roshan is... You almost can't not get it if you're on the side of QPAD. You really, really need this because, of course, Mouse are pretty far ahead right now. We talked about how Fata has his Hex completed and whatnot, but the big thing for QPAD Red Pandas is Select has to be able to isolate Fata. That's the one he wants to get. It's not going to be Black because it's going to be too hard to focus him in a full 5-on-5 engagement. If you force Fata to use his coil in not a 4-man position where he got it last time around the Roshan pit and his follow-up was superb, then you take away a lot of the burst AoE potential that Mouse actually has. Then you can start worrying about maybe focusing somebody down. So it's all going to be down to the coordination of what Select can actually get and what Fata can get. The initiators right now on both teams are pretty much going to be the make or break of who's going to get Roshan.
And Mouse Sports, well timed. They're going to go to the tier 2 tower. This will be dropping very quickly, and then surely they're going to make their rotation towards Roshan. Both teams should have the timer of it. Tower's going to drop. Last hit goes to Koiva on his Juggernaut. He's actually completed a full Manta style and drum since we saw him in the early stages where he just had his phase. And QPAD are going to back off just to their base. But They do have some good warding. They do know where Mousesports are heading. It's up to them now. Do they want to take this fight, and how are they going to initiate it? Singh is almost level 16. He's got just his Yasha and BKB.
Well,
and Roshan is up. Was the Roshan timer correct for
it? It was. We got the double
Boom.
thumbs up, actually. I think it was. And it was not only a double thumbs up, but I think it was almost like Spirit Fingers thumbs up. It was good. So, yeah, timer. Pretty much perfect. Black actually decides to go for a Desolator, so that's going to be his next item choice. Something that we actually see EG do quite often whenever they field Weaver. So now, the damage output from Mouse has just skyrocketed, because Desolator increases your entire team's physical damage output tremendously. And QPad, they go into the Roche Pit, but I think they realize that they can't really be the first ones in. They kind of have to get the jump on Mouse.
Yeah, and Wagger's just going to have to TP in, and his ultimate's down as well, so no one can get caught here. But Fata does have a haster, and not going to be able to find anybody. Did use Blink and the haste to get into position, and they're going to force QPad away, and QPad may be looking to reinitiate. In comes a Rocket Flare from Select on his Clockwork, and this would be the time if they're going to make anything happen. But Cinderin is nicely positioned. He's actually going to get an opener on Mini. I'm not sure about that decision, and blinks very strangely into an odd position. And here we go. This has to be the fight, but Roshan's already down, and it is going to be picked up by Black.
And Select is actually dropping inside of the pit. Singh popping the BKB, has the Eclipse, just not really enough damage coming out from the side of the QPad Red Pandas right now. Looks like Fata might be the only one to fall. He does get another phase shift off. Fata's still alive. The Shadow Blade auto attack, and one more coming out from Wagamama. Get the kill. The buyback coming out of Fata, but it just simply doesn't matter. It's an entire team wipe coming out for the QPad Red Pandas. All they lose is their initiator, and they call the GG. So that was the last effort right there. They hook shot into the Roshan pit to try to steal the Aegis away from Black, because God knows it would have been hard enough to kill him once.
Yeah.
There's no way you're killing him twice.
Yeah, we built up to that. That was going to be the fight.
Yeah.
Obviously, we've commentated a lot here, so I do apologise for losing my words multiple times.
It's okay, man.
But yeah, it was going to be the fight, and you can see what they were trying to do, but it would have been nicer a little bit earlier, I feel, in terms of it's so risky just to go, we want to steal it. If you can get the opener you want, it's fantastic. They lost the ward control over the Roshan as well,
yeah.
Which was a big problem. And then Cinderin actually he almost didn't make anything good. Yeah, that was a shaky moment where you could see Cupid could get a kill here. Cinderin only hit one with his Impel, had a bit of a weird blink, but it's okay. In Black we trust, because he dominated that fight after, of course, Fata just laid down the law.
Well, that was just it. Even though Cinderin was in that really awkward position and he only got a one-man stun, it's like, you can't really go on Cinderin. Because if you think about it, at that stage in the game, he's actually one of the least threatening heroes. Sure, you can get stunned, but Singh has the BKB, so he's not really worried about the magic damage output. The rest of the team is. But you really, if you're Select, you really wanted to find Fata there. You really wanted to be able to just make sure that his initiation wasn't just going to crush your entire team. But at that stage in the game, it was like Mouse were already so far ahead that even if they got the perfect jump, it might not have been enough anyway.
Yeah. But well played by Mouse. Their laning phase, everything was just really, really good. And QPad probably could tighten stuff up a little bit. Some of the deaths, and especially the off lane, like that was, from Wagamama, personally, very amateur to get picked off that easily and give first blood to Black, and it all went downhill from there. So Bruno, weapons?
It was tough from the beginning, weapons. The lanes just didn't work for me. The fact that they had the supports rotating here, but Luna, as Andy well said, has more base damage than the pack, but that wasn't working for them. And Waga getting that first blood right down there. When you have your top two farmed heroes, the ones that you need to succeed, not having a great time, definitely not having a great time. And what's your safe lane doing? Well, they're pretty much farming a Clockwork. That was clearly wrong in terms of they decided to, okay, let's rotate things. They moved people around, Waga went to the jungles, but by the time they make this rotation, first of all, well, actually the Juggernaut was here and the Weaver was here. Black got everything he wanted. Yep. Black got everything. When I talked about him being the most farmed at 12 minutes, he was 88 CS. The previous one was 81, so 7 CS difference. Of course, there were treants for him to feed as well. So it's not a big increase of money, but the fact that he was getting those treants as well means that he was getting so much control out there. And Singh and Waga couldn't seem to find anything. It just snowballed from there. I mean, we can't even say that there was a bad team fight or anything because they just nothing worked for them.
I just want to say something you're all missing. I think the Pandas thought it was an offensive try. That's why they did the...
Well, I mentioned it during the draft. I said that it could have been an aggressive try lane.
I thought it was that offensive just because they thought it was an offensive try.
Yeah, well, it looked like it would be an offensive try, especially with those two supports. But what I felt during this whole game was that Cupid played Mouse's game, and Mouse just played Cupid's game, but Mouse just did it better. I mean, like Mouse kept the aggression up.
Cupid
like,
played into Mouse's game.
Yeah, I mean,
think
Cupid tried to play the defensive style instead, whereas Mouse just went on the aggression, and Cupid couldn't really react. They just like fell behind and didn't really know what to do, and then they tried to farm up against someone like Black, where it doesn't really happen, and Mouse just kept the aggression going because, like we talked about before, Mouse usually plays very defensive, but now they got some really good rotations going and got some really nice kills. So.
Yeah. Definitely the pick-up on Luna mid, the first blood on Wagga, it all started great for Mouse, and they looked very dominant in their first game performance. Cupid did show some signs that they could put some stuff together in terms of team fights. There was some nice pick-offs on a very tricky-to-kill Black playing the Weaver.
I was surprised.
So it's, even that kill was like, oh, okay, this looks interesting in terms of what they can do. But it's all about Mouse Sports, as they've gone into game one and come out 1-0 ahead. So now... we look over to Cupid, what are they going to change? I'm ready to start the game. I think everybody at home just wants to get into this. Trans is like,
He needs a break, man.
He needs a break.
you want, okay. Alright.
He needs a break.
No, yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Get some air in here. It's getting really hot as well. So what we'll do is, once again, between the matches, we're just going to go to a quick commercial break. And when we come back, it's going to be game 2 between Cupid Red Pandas and Mouse Sports. If Mouse Sports win the next game, they're through to the qualifiers. Cupid need 2 in a row. See you in just a moment.